How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this is a shocking story, guys, right? This is a story on the Manchester News website, which is my local paper. The headline, right, some people might feel sorry for, when they hear it, they might think, good, the victim caught up with the offender in prison. But sadly, that's not the case, guys. The headline reads, predatory paedophile met one of his grown-up victims on the same wing in prison. Now, what wing do you think that is, guys? Do you think it's general population, or do you think it's VP? Ding, 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 ding. For those that don't know, VP stands for vulnerable prisoners. Vulnerable prisoner wings house paedophiles, rapists, just sex offenders in general, child murderers, former police officers, former prison officers, gang members, and people that are in debt and stuff like that go on VP. But the truth is, the victim of this paedophile is also a sex offender himself. Anyway, guys, going to read the story. Very interested to know your comments on this subject. So, Colin Cooper's victim felt like a child after realising who he had run into before running back to his cell and breaking down in tears. A predatory paedophile met one of his grown-up victims on the same wing in prison. Colin Cooper was serving time for a string of sickening crimes against children when they ended up in the same unit as a man he assaulted as a boy, himself locked up for raping a young girl later in life. The man said to have felt like a child when he realised who he had run into, went back to his cell and broke down in tears. Cooper, 67, was hauled back to the courts before being found guilty of yet more historic sex offences. He has now been convicted of more than 50 sexual offences against children committed between 1970s and the 2000s. Monster Cooper, formerly of Wythenshawe and Hattersley, forced some victims to eat raw meat from pigs' heads when they tried to escape his clutches. His 18 victims were aged between 5 and 12. The man Cooper met again in prison was under 16 when he was assaulted in the 1970s. He came forward following the chance encounter and realised who Cooper was. The court heard the man is serving a long sentence for raping a young woman. So the victim of this paedophile, one of the victims who's bumped into him in prison, was in prison for himself raping a young girl. Remorseless Cooper is serving an 18-year sentence handed down in 2011. On Thursday, he was jailed for 8 years after a jury unanimously found him guilty of 3 counts of indecent assault and 1 count of gross indecency with a child, all against the same victim. This sentence will run alongside his existing 18-year detention period. Manchester Crown Court was told that Cooper, previously known as Alan Makinson, is in poor health and could die behind bars. Well, with any luck, that will happen to both of them. In a statement read to the court by prosecutor David Bentley, Cooper's latest victim said, "I know he, Cooper, stole my childhood. It has destroyed my life. If a convicted sex offender can open up about my past abuse..." If a convicted sex offender can open up about my past abuse, I hope he can help others to come forward. Some people have the theory that the abused becomes the abuser. And in some cases that might be right. Well, it is right, because in this case, guys, one of his victims, not the person that's just been quoted, but the guy that's ran into him on the wing, there was both in the non-swing at Strangeways. And obviously he was abused by this Colin Cooper, formerly known as Alan Makinson, and then himself went on to rape a young girl. Both creatures, guys, both absolute creatures. Defending Stuart Dyke said Cooper had been a prolific offender in Wythenshawe. Mr. Duke said there is a real possibility Cooper will die in prison. Well, good. He can't continue to, when he gets out, he can't continue with his urges, can he, if he's dead. Cooper continues to deny any wrongdoing. As far as rehabilitation is concerned, the prospect isn't rosy, Mr. Duke added. The court heard Cooper would entice his victims with money and gifts and would target the vulnerable. A previous hearing was told that in one particular sick punishment, Cooper would force his victims to eat raw meat from a pig's head when they tried to escape his clutches. Previously, Cooper was jailed for 3 years in 1986 after admitting a string of child sex offences, including rape. He changed his name, moved addresses, and continued to prey on vulnerable youngsters. Judge Timothy Smith explained he was constrained in his sentencing powers due to the most recent offences being charged under the laws applicable in the 1970s. He told Cooper, "You are a compulsive, manipulative and predatory paedophile. Referring to the meeting in prison, the judge added, "In the course of that chance encounter following some exploration of matters, he realised that you were his abuser. That only came clear when he told you what your name was at the time, that being Alan Makinson. You have since changed your name." His reaction to that was he felt like a child. Well, literally felt like a child. No pun intended, guys. This guy's a rapist. He went back to his cell and broke down crying. The court was told the victim said he would never get over what Cooper had done previously. After the hearing, Detective Constable Joanna Gordon of Greater Manchester Police's Public Protection Investigation Unit said, "Colin Cooper took advantage of a young child to satisfy his own depraved desires, and prison is where he belongs. I hope that today's results send a clear message to victims of historical sex abuse. No matter how much time has passed, we will do everything in our power to bring perpetrators to justice for these horrific crimes. Victims have to live with the trauma of these crimes for a large part of their life. I'd encourage anyone who's previously suffered to come forward and get the support that they need." Now, guys, they do say that when it comes to sexual abuse that a lot of victims go on to be offenders. That is definitely the case with one. Like I say, he's had 18, 19 victims. One of them turned out to be a rapist, raped a young girl. And like I said, he felt like a child. Well, disgusting, guys, and it's not a pun, but he literally felt like a child because he raped a child, raped a young girl. So where the abusee has begun on to become the abuser in this case and stuff. It's nothing new, guys. There's pictures of Colin Cooper at the start. Like I say, was known as Alan Makinson, changed his name to Colin Cooper to try and get away from, obviously, his past. Depraved individual, guys. With any luck, both of these will carry out some sort of suicide pact and take each other's lives in prison, or take their own lives in prison. But like, what are the chances, guys? An abuser coming in contact with his victim who went on to abuse and rape a young girl. You can't rehabilitate these individuals, guys. Bullet to the back of the head, a foot rope off a 6-foot drop. No way you can do anything, guys. These guys should not be released from prison. Both him and his victim, like I say, you stop being a victim when you go on to abuse. Do you know what I mean? By becoming a rapist and raping a young girl, for me, you lose the right to be called a victim. Simple as that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about the video, about the story. It's a very unique story, this one, very shocking. What do you think about the victim becoming the abuser? Does he have the right to be called a victim? What do you think should happen to Colin Cooper? Do you think that what punishment do you think should be handed down to these guys? Let me know, guys. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.